Hi, I'd like to order a Krabby Patty, please.
Okay, can someone else take my order?
SpongeBob SquarePants is famous for lighthearted comedy.
I'm playing picnic with my wonderful little food friends, Herb and Loretta. These are their kids, Timmy and Sally.
But there's one episode that shocked fans worldwide. An episode so unsettling, many say it shouldn't exist. Today, we dive into the darkest SpongeBob story ever told. Since its debut in 1999, SpongeBob SquarePants has built a reputation as Nickelodeon's most cheerful and absurd cartoon. Bright colors, silly jokes, and wacky adventures, what could possibly go wrong? Yet buried in the show's long history is an episode that fans describe with one word: disturbing. Unlike the usual slapstick, this story touched on deeper, darker emotions, catching audiences off guard. Internet forums exploded with debates, YouTube channels broke it down scene by scene, and fans reported feeling uneasy long after the credits rolled. The episode at the center of this storm is Are You Happy Now?, featuring Squidward in an unusually grim storyline. Unlike typical episodes where his misery is played for laughs, this one lingered too long in sadness, turning comedic gloom into unsettling despair. Squidward's failed attempts to find happiness lead to imagery and pacing that disturbed both children and adults. Parents wrote online that it felt too heavy for SpongeBob, while some fans called it the show's first psychological horror. Even though Nickelodeon stood by the episode, discussions online have never really stopped. And here's the suspense. Was this simply a misstep in tone? Or was SpongeBob revealing a side of itself audiences weren't ready to face? At first glance, Are You Happy Now? Looks like a standard SpongeBob plot. Squidward, frustrated with his dull life, searches for a moment of joy. But what unfolds shocked viewers. Instead of quick jokes or slapstick, the episode drags Squidward into a spiral of hopelessness. His repeated failures to feel happiness are played out in scenes that feel uncomfortably long. Lingering shots, slow pacing, and Squidward's growing despair. What disturbed fans most was a sequence many describe as too real. In one infamous moment, Squidward locks himself in his house, staring at photos and sinking into loneliness. Some viewers interpreted this as an allusion to depression, something rarely, if ever, portrayed in children's cartoons. While the show had always teased Squidward's grumpy nature, this was different. It wasn't funny, it was unsettling. Reports surfaced that Nickelodeon even pulled certain darker frames for reruns, cutting seconds that were deemed too heavy for younger audiences. Fans quickly noticed and uploaded comparisons online, sparking heated debates about censorship. YouTube analysis videos point out how this episode differs visually from the rest of the series. Darker colors, slower transitions, and heavier use of silence. And here's the suspense. SpongeBob has always thrived on absurd chaos. So why did this particular episode lean so hard into psychological unease? Was it an experiment gone wrong, or a subtle commentary that slipped past Nickelodeon's usual bright tone? On the surface, Are You Happy Now? Looks like another Squidward-centered misadventure, but beneath the jokes lies a surprisingly dark exploration of mental health, loneliness, and the pursuit of happiness. Fans on Reddit and YouTube often point out that Squidward's struggle mirrors real-world issues, the pressure to be happy in a society that constantly demands positivity. The humor in this episode is uncomfortable. It relies on Squidward's despair, not his usual sarcasm. Scenes of him failing at hobbies or isolating himself at home resonate more like a study of depression than cartoon gags. For many adults rewatching, it felt disturbingly relatable. Children may not fully grasp the implications, but they sense the shift in tone. The laughs feel hollow, the silence is heavier. Even the animation style supports this darker mood. Analysts noticed muted colors, long pauses, and Squidward's exaggerated expressions of sadness. Compared to the show's usual energy, it feels almost experimental, like SpongeBob had briefly transformed into a cautionary tale. And here's the suspense. Was this intentional social commentary? Some argue the writers wanted to highlight the dangers of chasing happiness externally. Others say it was simply a creative misstep, a tonal experiment that clashed with SpongeBob's identity. Either way, the episode crossed a line, blurring comedy and discomfort in a way fans can't forget. The fan response to Are You Happy Now? Was immediate and divided. Some praised the episode for daring to address darker emotions, calling it one of the most honest portrayals of Squidward's character. Others, however, found it deeply distressing, claiming it went too far for a children's show built on slapstick and absurdity. Online forums lit up with theories and debates. Parents complained that the episode exposed kids to themes of isolation and depression that were inappropriate for its target audience. On YouTube, breakdown videos gained hundreds of thousands of views, with creators dissecting the disturbing frames and tone. Some even compared it to lost episode creepypasta stories like Red Mist, blurring the lines between fan fiction and actual broadcast. Nickelodeon's response added fuel to the fire. Certain darker shots were reportedly trimmed for reruns, creating speculation about censorship. Fans noticed discrepancies between the original airing and later versions, sparking conspiracies that Nickelodeon was trying to downplay just how unsettling it had been. Culturally, the episode has become infamous, not just as a SpongeBob oddity, but as a case study in how cartoons sometimes stumble into heavier territory. It's often ranked on fan lists of darkest cartoon episodes, alongside infamous entries from Courage the Cowardly Dog and Adventure Time. Here's the suspense. Was the backlash proof that SpongeBob had crossed a line, or was it evidence that audiences weren't ready to see their favorite sea sponge dip into uncomfortable truths about life? More than a decade after its release, Are You Happy Now continues to cast a shadow over SpongeBob's otherwise lighthearted legacy. For many fans, it stands out as the rare moment when the show's humor collided with something far more human and unsettling. The episode reshaped how audiences viewed Squidward. Instead of the grumpy neighbor played for laughs, he became a mirror of deeper struggles, dissatisfaction, alienation, and the painful search for joy. That's why even today, discussions about SpongeBob's darkest episode resurface across Reddit threads, YouTube explainers, and ranking lists of disturbing cartoon moments. From an industry perspective, this episode also highlights the fine line children's media walks between entertainment and emotional weight. Writers often try to slip in meaningful lessons for older viewers, but here, the tonal experiment left audiences divided. Some saw it as groundbreaking, others saw it as a mistake that nearly broke the show's cheerful brand. And here's the lasting suspense. Did Are You Happy Now unintentionally reveal SpongeBob's hidden versatility, or did it simply show that even beloved cartoons aren't immune to controversy? Either way, it proved that beneath the laughter, SpongeBob has the power to stir emotions we don't expect from a sponge under the sea. Are You Happy Now remains one of SpongeBob's most controversial episodes, a rare moment when comedy collided with darker truths. Whether seen as bold storytelling or a tonal misstep, it left fans unsettled and sparked debates that continue today. Sometimes even cartoons remind us that happiness isn't always simple. If this breakdown of SpongeBob's darkest episode intrigued you, hit that like button, share with fellow fans, and subscribe for more deep dives into hidden cartoon stories. Comment below, do you think this episode went too far, or was it an honest reflection of real struggles?
Wake me when I'm dead.